Have you got that so far? Yeah, that we're talking about the energy bodies that we move through as opposed to dimensions and densities. That's material for another time. I'll get to it eventually. Okay, so now we're talking about the energy fields or the energy bodies. Okay, so here is our first pointer. Okay, hey Musso, what's happening? So as you know, if you have been watching my scopes from the beginning, which is about, I started scoping in July, by the way, man is composed of a series of energy bodies, of energy fields. Of course, primarily there are 7. Hey babe, Chris Papadak is in the room. Babe, what are you doing? It's just 7 minutes past 8. It's too early for you. So there are primarily 7 energy bodies that we house, or we can turn it the other way round and say that house us. Yeah, I guess in truth that's what it really is. Yeah, so we are composed of a series of energy bodies, and these energy bodies are constructed to function in more than one dimension of space. Okay, so as beings, as souls, we have many, many functions, and they can function on many dimensions of space. And I know that that point in itself raises a lot of questions. And each point as I raise them will raise another set of questions. And in truth, right, to be honest with you, there's even a lot of questions that it raises within myself still today, because at the end of the day, Truth Crew, these questions are never completely answered. Never, ever completely, never. Because there is no evidence to validate all of this kind of work. There just isn't. There is a lot, and there's a lot more than there used to be, and that's really super exciting. But we can never get the full answers to all of these statements or all of these questions. Isn't that right? Yeah. So let's discuss what we do know, okay? Let's explore and let's disclose a little deeper, a little further, okay? So we do have 4 main functions, okay, as beings. We have body, physical body, when we're here in the 3D domain, okay? We have an emotional body because we have the capacity to feel, yes, emotions. And feelings are not things that you can touch. They're not things that you can pick up with your hands. It's not physical. So there in itself is evidence through our emotional manifestation and our emotional body of what we're capable of. And it's beyond the physical. There's so much more to us than the physical, right? And the reason why I'm saying this is because it's very, very important to the content of what it is that we're about to explore and discuss. Of course, there is also the mental aspect of us, or the mental body. And this is kind of like the final stage that we get to when we pass. And I'll explain what I mean as we go through my bullet points. Thanks so much for the hearts, guys. I really do appreciate that. Big time, okay? So there's the 4 functions, okay? You got it? You've got the 4 functions. We've got body, yeah. We've got emotion. We've got mind. And of course, the one that I didn't mention that I'm about to add, which is the 4th, is spirit, okay? And spirit is the one that encases the soul, and it actually encases everything, because it's actually from spirit from where we arise and what it is that we go back to, depending, of course, on the level of our evolution, how many classes that we've been through. So are you all good so far? Are you with me so far? Yeah? If you are, throw up some emojis so we can continue. Mind, body, spirit, and emotion. And emotion. Yes, Erica. And so another aspect that, you know, it's truth, it's immutable truth, and this is why I said at the beginning, like it's partly immutable truth, is emotion is real, all right? That's an absolute given, yeah? Thanks for the flowers, darling. Thank you for the emojis. Another aspect that's actually Truth. You're welcome. Another aspect that is truth is the mentality side. Yeah, we are able to think. We are able to create. Yes, you are body, mind, spirit. Indeed. Indeed you are, and indeed we are. And it's actually the brain. Yeah, heart. Exactly. Emotion. Letgar, thank you for joining. But if you also think of the brain, guys, the brain houses mind, doesn't it? Yeah, it houses the mind. But if you were to get the brain and dissect it into loads of itsy bitsy pieces, okay, mind would be nowhere to be found. You couldn't take it out and say, oh, here we are, we can have a mind transplant. We can't do that. You know, as advanced as science can get, this is something that science could never ever do, because mind it's non-physical, but we definitely house it. The brain houses it. So emotion and mind are validations. There are things going on within us that cannot be grasped or touched physically. There's something beyond the physical, and it's called metaphysics. And that is what I bang on about the whole time, isn't it? All of the time, it's what I bang on about. So, another little key point here, Truth Crew, is about the soul. The soul is beyond all of our perceptionary limitations and our sensory limitations. It is the master of all of the above functions, and it's all about the evolution of consciousness. So all these aspects of self, right, that we've talked about, we've got the body, we've got the emotional, yes, we've got the spiritual, and we've got the mental. It is through the soul is the only aspect that does not have any limitations. So in other words, guys, we're not just limited to mind or thought, although we can be. We are not just limited to our emotions, although we can be if we get caught in that trap. And we're not just limited to our body, although we can be if we're very sick. We can become entrapped in any of these, yeah? And we are not just spirit, we are also all of the others. And so the soul itself is unbound and is not limited by all of these individual aspects of everything that we are. Does that make sense? Yeah? It is in fact the master of all of these functions, and it is the master key to the evolution of our consciousness. Thanks very much. Thanks for saying so, my love. All right, and so here comes the juicy stuff, where we're going with all this. When we depart, when we leave our physical bodies, we actually leave in stages. Now, if you think, guys, if you feel that this content is going to be valuable to any of your followers or any of your community, then now is the time to share it on. Now is the time to share it on, and the temperature's gone down, so the hoodie goes back on. My tea got cold really, really quick. Hey Bauer, how are you doing? Thank you for coming in. So we actually do depart in stages. So here we go with the stages, right? This is going to be so good. So the reason that I started talking about all of that stuff is if we don't understand all of that stuff, then we can't understand the departure in stages, right? So here we are. The first thing that we do is, obviously, we all know this bit, we discard the physical body and we're carried upward with an umbilical cord to the afterlife. Now, I don't know if you caught the beginning of the scope, yeah, but at the beginning I had an image of like the human body and the kind of the spirit, the essence lifting up off the physical body. Hey Morgane, how you doing, love? Thanks for coming in. So, yes, we're actually attached with an ethereal umbilical cord. It's okay, I'll put it up once again. I can put it up now if you want as well, just real quick. There it is on my iPad. Let me just get a nice. All right, guys, can you see that? So this is kind of what it is that happens. Great. Yeah, thanks for taking the screenshot, guys. Appreciate that. Now, the umbilical cord in this case, yes, it's what's known in sort of like spiritual phenomena as the ghost, if you like. Now, you see the umbilicus is attached to the crown, but it has also been known to be attached to the umbilical area, okay, down here, okay, from here to the umbilical area of the essence of us that leaves, okay. So it can happen that way too. It's not just this way as depicted in the image, just to clarify that to you before we move on. Okay, did you get that? No worries, no worries. And we'll put it up again towards the end as well, right at the end rather. No problem at all. And so we're departing these stages now. Then when we go up, we go into our first energy body, which is the etheric energy field or energy body. Okay, that's kind of the first one that surrounds the body. It's called the etheric body. Okay, so we go into that. Yes, every night we sleep, the soul goes astral travelling, but the silver cord brings us back. Exactly. That's exactly how it is, Taz. But in the case of departing, what happens is once you've moved into the etheric body, at some point, let me just see if it's at that point or further on. Yes, when we've moved into the etheric body, okay, then that ethereal umbilical cord that attaches us will then become disconnected. And isn't it amazing how when we come into the physical body, we come with an umbilical cord, don't we? And when we leave the physical body, we also leave with an umbilical cord also. And then once we have gone into the first stage of our ascension process into the afterlife, we discard, of course, the physical body and, of course, the umbilical cord also. Yes, the ethereal umbilical cord. And so we go into that first stage. Now, some of you, I feel, might ask, how long do we spend in each stage? Now, there have been numbers out there, but to be honest with you, I would say that it's relative. Hey, Roman, Brayton, how are you doing? How are you doing today? So there are stages, and there is time in terms of human time, but in all honesty, I cannot sit here and say to you, yes, we stay in that stage for so many days, for so many hours, whatever, yeah? It is stated that there is like a 40-day period where we sort of like hang around the earth plane, in terms of planes though now, not bodies. Today we're talking bodies, right? But in terms of planes, that we're actually hanging around the earth plane for approximately 40 days. In all honesty though, Truth Crew, I would say that there may be exceptions to, yes, not I would say, he would be an immutable truth whereby there will be exceptions to that rule, okay? Yes, the Bardo rituals in Tibetan Buddhism, exactly. But, you know, there are exceptions to the rules where we may stay, where we may hover longer or less for whatever reasons. Too many variables involved, okay? So we can't give precise numbers as to how long we stay in terms of the plane levels and also in terms of the body levels. But when we do leave, Truth Crew, this you must know, we do leave in stages and we occupy the bodies for a certain period of time. It's not just we leave the human body and whoosh, we're gone and we've gone up to so-called heaven. Okay, that's not how it works at all. So we've talked about the etheric body. So we move into etheric body, okay? Once we've left etheric body, we then go into emotional body, okay? So this is really, it starts to get really fascinating, okay? When we go into the emotional body, what happens is the energy body extracts records from your previous embodiment, okay? So whatever it is that you have experienced in your physical life, they're kind of like records, almost like Akashic records, and they start to get extracted. So there's this like transference